5 minutes. I'm gonna be talking for 5 minutes straight. That's that's what I told myself I was gonna do, and that's what I'm gonna do. It's not necessarily what I told myself to do. Actually, it's different. Recently, I've been struggling with this idea of action versus planning, and a lot of the people that I've been listening to on podcasts have been explaining that what I call planning is really procrastinating, and what I call action is the thing I need to be doing. And I needed to hear that. As a Catholic, I needed to hear you just gotta do it. There's a time for prayer, and then there's a time for action motivated through prayer. And that's this time. For a long time, I've been wanting to follow a vocal teacher's advice. I can't remember his name at the moment. I'll have to look it up and say it for next video. That the best way to improve your voice and to improve your manner of speaking is through recording 5 minutes of audio and video, and then for you to, after the video of course, flip your phone over and then hear it again and take note of all the ums you were saying and all the blah 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 blah. I noticed consciously that I did one just earlier. And then you go a second time and then you mute it. And then you see the video, you look at the video and you see, how were my hands articulating? And then there's a third one, which I completely forgot, if I'm being honest. And I've been wanting to do that, but in the form of just practicing what I have in my head, and that is just thoughts and just speaking what I think. And well, today, what I wanted to talk about was the thing that motivated me to finally start recording in front of a camera and just speak, and that is shame. It's a bizarre topic to talk about as the first topic, but bear with me. There are two kinds of shames in this world, just like there's two kinds of everything, and it's very binary, it's very simple. One is the godly, and the other is the godless. In godly shame, we fear what God has to say to us. We fear that. We're ashamed of it. We are afraid of letting him down. And this is a good thing. Because if we're truly motivated by a shame by the shame of God, I mean, of being afraid of God's judgment and his shame and us shaming him, the same way that we would be ashamed of letting our parents down, it leads us to godly action. And now there's another one. There's a godless shame. This shame doesn't regard God. It's all about me. It's all about who am I and how do others perceive me, as opposed to how does God perceive me. And in fact, it's also how do I perceive myself, and that's godless. And this kind of shame manifests in fear for action, of not wanting to do something that you should be doing, that God is telling you go do it, but then you're ashamed. You're afraid of the social rejection of people. You're afraid of that, so you don't do it when God clearly tells you to do it. But it also works backwards. Fear for God and fearing God's shame on us leads us to inaction when it leads us away from God. If I have these ideas of cheating on my wife, I'm not married yet, but I guess it's over. But if I have this idea of cheating on my wife, But God is at the forefront of my mind, and I'm ashamed. I'm already ashamed of how I feel after the cheating. It'll lead me to inaction. It'll lead me away from that. And shame works in two ways. One, it leads you away from something, and then the second is it leads you towards something. So if you're ashamed of God's, wait, no, if you're afraid of God's judgment and afraid of shaming God or receiving shame from God, oops, it'll lead you away from the thing you don't have to be doing, right? Which could be something productive, like washing the dishes or putting away laundry. But the thing that you have to do is you have to go and study, or you have to go and get your finances straight, or you have to go and talk to your wife and say, hey, I cheated on you and I need to work this out. Or going to a priest and going to reconciliation, or a whole slur of things. It could look like work. It could look like you're being productive, but you're not. And it's because you're not being motivated, you're not being influenced by the fear of the Lord, and then being afraid of His shaming us. I really need to find a better way of wording that. Well, that's it for this 5-minute talk, and I'll see you guys next week. God bless. Have a good day.